Picture. It's 9 a.m. on your Thursday morning. I'm Bryn Caswell.
And I'm Colin Dorsey. It's great to have you with us on a very, very soggy Thursday.
Another one.
Oh
This
my
rain
gosh.
is not going away.
We got one break.
One day of sunshine, and then the rain just came back. I mean, if you were watching 10 TV News this morning, so much flooding impacting roads all over central Ohio, even to the point where schools were closing across the city this morning. Let's get to our headlines today because we have a lot we're going to be covering. So Columbus City Schools, they went back to school today. We had a reporter live there from the bus barn watching all those buses take off to pick up those kids. We also have the Ohio Department of Health Director, Bruce Vanderhoff, on. We're talking about vaccination rates for school kids.
Right. And then obviously, as we kind of mentioned, we are talking about how the weather has been causing all sorts of delays and cancellations all morning long. Obviously, you just saw a live look there of some of the flooding there. I believe that's up on the north side. I believe that's up there on Johnstown Road.
And I just counted nearly 30 schools this morning were on a 2-hour delay. And now we have 5 schools have canceled altogether. When I'm looking at our closure list, Gahanna Jefferson City Schools, they have closed. Johnstown Monroe local schools closed. Liberty Christian, Licking Heights, and then Pickerington local schools have closed this morning. Oh, and Southwest Licking Schools.
Wow.
So on our website, you can go to 10tv.com/closings, and this website populates up-to-date information when the schools are putting it in our system. So go to that website, 10tv.com/closings, for the latest updates because, like I said, I mean, it repopulates.
Yeah, and I can't think of another time that we've had this many schools go on just for rain, but obviously we had a lot of rain, and it's not just the rain from today, but we're still saturated from 13 straight days of rain recently, so there's nowhere for it to go.
And I mean, I was talking with Justin. I mean, I think Gahanna got 6 inches in a matter of hours this morning. That is so much rain so fast.
Right, and there's some areas that localized could have above that as well.
Right. So let's get to some of the video that we have from this morning. I want to show first 71 and Frank Road. Look at this water. I mean, we normally call this ponding, but this looks like laking to me. I mean, that is like a big body of water covering the highway there, and cars were blocked off for hours. They could not get through.
And as Tracy and I had talked, we've seen that close down during the wintertime for snow, but I've never seen it cover up like that in the rain. Like, obviously we've seen lanes shut down toward that median because of how it's, the highway is constructed there. All that water just ponds right there in the middle, but never all the way across. And I mean, all morning long, they get like one lane open there on 71 and then it'd flood back over.
Right.
It just took
closed for hours. And geez.
And I believe it's still closed at this time.
Yeah, I think it is still closed. I mean, I was talking to you guys this morning in the newsroom when I was driving in through West 3rd and the High Street area in Neal. I mean, I was driving through puddles of water as well. I had to like go over to the other side of the road at one point at 3:30 in the morning. Because
here's a live look at it right now.
Yeah, here's a live look.
So the water's gone, but it is still
down.
closed.
Yeah, but again, the ground is so saturated right now from nearly 6 days of like nonstop rain. So this doesn't surprise me that this happened this morning. But Amy Steigerwald, she's been out and about. We said she was at the bus barn earlier, but then she went out to find some of this flooding. And she went to Jackson Pike. And obviously this area is notorious for flooding. But what we are seeing this morning, it is bad. It's really bad. I mean, 2 cars completely submerged.
Yeah, so I'm actually a little bit east of the freeway. We want to give you a look behind us at what we're seeing. This is at the intersection of Jackson Pike and Dyer Road on the south side. This is an area that does typically flood, we should point out, but we're definitely seeing some scary conditions out there as we kind of zoom in. You can see those are cars that are stuck here off of Jackson Pike. You can see many of them, from what we could tell through our lens, are SUVs that are halfway underwater. So if that gives you an idea of how deep things are, that kind of puts it really into perspective here. We haven't been watching the water rise too much over the past 15 or so minutes since we've been here. Many of the cars on the other side of our camera right here, thankfully turning around, not trying to get past through here. We have seen a couple cars chance it, and then they kind of see what they're getting into and they turn around as well. So that is good news. Avoid this spot if you can. Again, we're right at the intersection of Jackson and Dyer. The freeway 71 that's right up the road from here, getting on at Frank and 71, not really possible as of right now just because this area is so flooded out. You can see it stopped raining. I don't have my hood up anymore, so that is good news, but it's definitely going to be a little while before we see those conditions clear.
Just so much water there. That's
right. And I mean, that's the south side. And I know up there toward New Albany, up there kind of on Johnstown Road,
right.
That whole thing was underwater there at Stelzer and Johnstown. I mean, it's a mess all over. And obviously we've got those school districts out, Pataskala,
Johnstown had
Johnstown,
to close.
Monroe.
Yeah. And this is like the first week back to school for a lot of these districts.
Today is day one for Columbus City Schools.
Right. And a lot of these districts, like I believe Pickerington went back earlier this week. So let's think about the bus drivers and the maybe newer students as well. I mean, I understand why they closed some of these districts because, this was happening right when typical pickup would start.
Right.
And we're seeing these complete roads are swallowed by the floodwaters.
Yeah, and I mean, as we spoke, kind of this morning, that
Amy was live from the
she was
bus
live
barn.
there. Yes, yeah, so I was like, wait, I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. We're doing a lot this morning. So she was with Superintendent Angela Chapman
who said
with CCS.
There's going to be some delays because of that. So take a listen.
I don't know if you can hear the buses behind me, but they are definitely testing their signals, getting ready to hit the road. We've already seen a lot of them roll out this morning. And we've got Dr. Angela Chapman, Superintendent of Columbus City Schools with us. And you guys are really taking a lot of precautions in the rain this morning.
Absolutely. Good morning and welcome back. It's the first day of school here in Columbus City Schools, and we want to remind all of our community members, our family members, to slow down, use caution, and be mindful of any of the road conditions. Be mindful of all the walkers that you'll be seeing this morning, all the students standing at the bus stop. Please use extreme caution.
And it stopped raining where we're at least right now, but those roads definitely might have a little bit of standing water in them. And those students waiting for the bus may be standing in a little bit of water as well. So we want to remind everyone to be safe, but also expect for parents that the buses may be running just a little bit behind this morning.
Yes, absolutely. Whenever there's weather, we should absolutely have grace, right? Remember that our buses are going to use extreme caution. They are going to slow down. And so our buses may be running a little bit behind schedule today due to the weather, but we want to make sure everyone knows that we are ready, we are open, our buses are ready to roll, and we look forward to welcoming our students back on the first day of school.
And even if it wasn't raining and that wasn't an issue, typically buses may see a couple hiccups on the first day. We want to remind parents as well that their parent portal is up to date, I assume.
Yes, please check the parent portal. Make sure you have your correct phone number, address, and email, and make sure that you're checking to make sure you have all the information for your bus routes.
Well, thanks so much for having us this morning. Good luck on the first day. And of course,
Thank you.
We will be following up with you guys as well throughout the remainder of this week through next week as well, if there were any major hiccups today. But just keep in mind to be extra safe as you're driving out on the roads this morning.
Amy, thank you. So again, the schools that are closed today because of this rain: Gahanna Jefferson City Schools, Johnstown Monroe Local Schools, Liberty Christian Academy, Licking Heights Local Schools, as well as Pickerington, and then Liberty Union Thurston Local Schools as well. Oh my gosh, Reynoldsburg City Schools closed now, Southwest Licking. I mean, St. Matthew Elementary, this list keeps getting updated.
Right. The good news is that we're kind of done with the rain. There might be some few on and off showers throughout the day, but as you know, according to our meteorologists, after this round this morning, we're in the clear.
So as we're talking about roads, we are obviously looking at the backups that happened this morning from all the rain. But there is actually a new study that was just released from AAA, and I found this really interesting when I saw it come across my desk. So this new research found that most drivers think speeding is normal. What do you think about that?
100%.
Yeah, definitely
100%.
In Columbus, the way people drive.
Oh, yeah, that's without a doubt.
So according to the new study, many drivers say going up to 10 miles per hour, the speed limit is acceptable. Now, 3/10 of drivers agree that no one really drives the speed limit. Interesting numbers there for sure. Especially in Columbus, man, people are always like speeding around and whatnot. So why do people speed? This study found that 31% do it to get around slower drivers, 25% to reach their destination faster, and 21% to avoid holding up traffic. Whew. So the study also found that drivers do not expect enforcement until they are traveling 10 to 12 miles per hour over the speed limit.
And I know I know a lot of people who subscribe to that of like, well, if you go 7 over, if it's 7 over, they're not going to pull you over.
Right.
False.
I know. They'll get you.
I have been pulled over for 2 over before.
Yeah, seriously. So So basically, this study comes after this report from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration showing that speeding was a factor in 30% of deadly fatality crashes in 2024. So joining us this morning, we have Morgan Dean with AAA. Hi, Morgan. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. It's great to see you all today.
Awesome. So hearing those numbers from your organization, what is your message to drivers?
Well, hopefully this is part of it, having a discussion about the dangers of speeding. You mentioned some of those statistics out there where people have really normalized it and they don't appreciate how dangerous speeding really can be, especially when we're talking about crashes on interstates and not being able to get a vehicle down to a survivable speed. So we're hoping that opening the discussion with some of these survey results might start that talk about people being safer out on the roadways and following those speed limits.
And obviously, big part of following those speed limits are around disabled vehicles, work zones. 72% of drivers surveyed say they slow down to avoid a crash. 72%. So that means what? That's 28% of drivers just keep flying on by at whatever they keep doing. That seems low, but the choice not to slow down when you're passing a disabled vehicle or through a work zone, that can be a fatal decision.
Or with our roadside rescue teams out on the side of the road, helping some of those drivers that are disabled or broken down on the side of the road. There's sometimes inches, maybe a foot there to work. And if vehicles aren't slowing down and moving over, it's very, very dangerous in that spot. Interestingly enough, you mentioned that 72% number to avoid being involved in a crash. But 79% said they would move over if they thought they were going to get a ticket and slow down. So the bigger pressure there seems to be law enforcement, which it's kind of old school to see highway patrol sitting there in the middle of those crossovers on the interstates. But sometimes that's the very thing that helps drivers get into their mind and say, oh, you know what? I'm going too fast. I need to slow down. Let's also not forget that speeding diminishes the amount of space that you have to react to something. And the faster you're going, the harder it can be for you to even react and slow down and control that vehicle in a situation that's outside of your control. And all of that combines to make it much more serious with injuries or potentially fatalities on our roadways.
Right, Morgan, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us this information and starting the conversation. I think that's really important when it comes to speeding and distracted driving as a whole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, coming up next, we are going to be joined by Ohio Department of Health Director, Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff, and we're talking about childhood vaccinations, back to school, all that good stuff. So we'll be back in a couple minutes.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Welcome to The Big Picture. It's 9:15 on your Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bryn Caswell.
And I'm Colin Dorsey. Great to have you with us following that live coverage of the weather going on. But right now we are joined by Ohio Department of Health Director, Dr. Bruce Vanderhoff. Dr. Vanderhoff, thanks so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
Hopefully the rain wasn't a trouble for you.
No, I didn't have any difficulty at all.
Okay, well, it's obviously back to school season.
Yes.
We're talking about vaccination rates for Ohio students. Lower kindergarten vaccination rates this year. What are the reasons for that in the data?
You know, it's a really good question. And the bottom line is, I think what we're seeing is much less a problem of parents being against vaccines and more an issue of parents wanting more information. They want to understand a little bit more. They're hearing a lot about vaccines, and they just want to know more about the vaccinations that are recommended for their child.
And there's so much to weed through out there nowadays.
Yes.
I mean, parents are getting, bombarded by stuff they see on social media. They're taking a lot of things that they see in these social media threads. I see it in various community groups all the time. For new parents especially, how do they weed through what is fact and what is not?
Well, I'll tell you, I think their best resource is their child's healthcare provider. And I've been encouraging for quite some time conversations between parents and their child's healthcare provider. Because look, your child's healthcare provider, like you, is your child's advocate. They want what's best for your child. And they understand the science. They understand all the research. They've got clinical experience. So I think engaging them in conversation is just a great way to learn more about the vaccines and get your questions answered.
When looking at just what we've experienced the past year with measles across the state, those vaccination rates are pretty low in Ohio. Is that disheartening?
Well, it's concerning. And I'll tell you, what we've seen is that prior to the pandemic, we were around 92.5% of kids entering kindergarten having demonstrated they were fully vaccinated against measles. We saw that drop continually, such that last year we were down to just around 88%. Now, the reason that causes us concern, we've got great illustrations just looking at the case numbers in our state. And this year, we're going to exceed last year's numbers. We're going to have, right now, we're at 69 cases. And measles is not a pleasant illness. Measles really makes kids sick. And sadly, a small percentage of them will in fact die.
Mm-hmm. And when looking at the updated guidance from the Trump administration regarding vaccine requirements for children, on the Ohio Department of Health website, the schools require the measles vaccination, correct?
That's correct.
Can you speak to that and why that decision has been made?
Yeah, so it's important to recognize that the president's order did not eliminate the measles vaccine. In fact, the order, if you read it carefully, is emphasizing first the importance of parents' autonomy and parental decision making, that vaccines should be given as a result of informed decision making. Well, you know what? In Ohio, we've always been in favor of that. We've talked about that before the president was talking about that. So that is consistent with practice here in Ohio. The other thing that the order points to, though, is recommendations about some of the spacing of vaccines. But the science hasn't changed. And so when we look at the importance of our vaccines, another thing I looked back at was, I said, well, what was it like in Ohio before the measles vaccine? And I looked at a 5-year period, and what I found was prior to the measles vaccine, we would report thousands of kids every year who would come down with measles and hundreds who would die. And can you imagine your perfectly healthy child coming down with measles and dying? Today, it's unthinkable. And that's really a testimony to the incredible efficacy and safety of a vaccine we've been giving for a very long time now.
And it's not just, talking about the severity of measles, as well as because there are a lot of people out there who are old enough to remember the polio epidemics before the creation of that vaccine.
Yes.
And now wild polio doesn't happen.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, I have colleagues who suffered from the consequences of polio. A colleague who had a great difficulty with walking, another colleague who had lifelong difficulties with breathing as a result of them having had polio before the vaccine was available. And I remember stories. My father recently passed away, but he would tell stories over and over about how people in his neighborhood, when a polio case would happen, there would be great fear. Mm-hmm. And when the vaccine came along, they were lined up around the block to get that vaccine.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I even think back to COVID when that vaccine first came out. People were going to their health departments trying to get in line to get those shots. I mean, those lines were so long. Let's switch gears now, talking about cyclosporiasis.
Yeah.
Give us an update on those numbers.
Sure. So we saw more cases of cyclosporiasis than we have in a very long time here in Ohio. And fortunately, we're seeing those trends on the decline. We are still seeing cases, but we are definitely on a downward trend. We right now are at close to 6,000 cases that were reported overall, which is really quite a lot. And while we're really happy to see the cases declining, the fact is that cyclosporiasis is just one of many organisms that can cause foodborne illness. And what happened this summer with cyclosporiasis is a reminder to all of us about how we should be handling our fresh fruits and vegetables every day. And when you bring them home from the farmer's market or from the store, you just don't toss them in the fridge and use them. You need to wash them. And we've forgotten that. I think that it's really something that our parents or grandparents may have done that we've kind of forgotten to do. Well, this was an illustration of how important it is with fresh leafy greens and certain fruits to wash them.
And I know agencies like the FDA and the CDC have been very involved with states during this whole outbreak.
Yes.
How has that been, how has that worked with these federal agencies?
Well, as you can imagine, with the number of cases that occurred in Ohio and the work that the Department of Health does to trace each and every case so that we can try to find the root cause, there was a lot of work that had to go on there. Well, we reached out to our colleagues at the CDC, and they were able to send us several people from their epidemiology team who moved to Columbus for about 4 weeks and helped us with that work. So we're really grateful for the help that we got from the CDC.
Do you know any of their findings so far about kind of the tracing of this, where they think it was coming from? I mean, Taylor Farms kept getting thrown around, but for Ohio specifically, in these cases that you guys have been tracking, where do you think it's coming from?
Well, it really does appear that there were strong signals related to lettuce. And our messaging about the importance of particularly washing lettuce, iceberg lettuce in particular, seems to have been a particularly strong signal. But I don't think that our data was such that we could say it was just lettuce. Again, the important message really is there's a way to avoid this. While this is an organism that usually comes from tropical to subtropical areas, can occur in Ohio, regardless of where it came from, we know how to avoid it, and we avoid it by washing those fresh fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm. So the threat of cyclosporiasis and getting that still very much prevalent today?
Well, there's still some, but it is rapidly declining. And that, by the way, is also typical. This is when we see it, we usually see it most in the summer.
Okay.
Anything else going on at the state right now in the public health world that we should know about?
Well, we have always lots going on. I think the one thing I would say is we're trying to get more messaging out about the importance of avoiding cannabis use during pregnancy. And there will be more coming from the Department of Health and some of our partners about the importance of safe pregnancies, including avoiding the use of cannabis.
All right, we'd love to get you back on about that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate the time.
We'll be right back in just a moment.
I'm Jeff Hogan. I've been a journalist at 10 TV for more than 20 years. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. And that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it moves. It moves you to act, to speak up, or lend a hand. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
All right, welcome back to The Big Picture. We got a lot of people in the studio right now. How's it going, guys?
Going great.
Did you make it in okay for the rain? Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, well, joining us right now, we have Lorenzo Brent. You are the CUL VP of Programming. We have Erika Fitzgerald, grant recipient of Glamour Girls on the Go. Then we have Dawn Redmond joining us as well. Thank you all for coming in.
Thank
Alrighty.
you. Thank
Lorenzo,
you for having us.
talk to us about the Columbus Urban League. Obviously, very ingrained in the community, and part of this grant program is just some of what the Columbus Urban League does.
Yes. We have 3 pillars at the Columbus Urban League. That's entrepreneurship, workforce, and financial empowerment services. And our goal is to close the wealth gap inside Columbus.
And so what is the process like getting these grants? Sounds tough. Not easy.
It is not, but thanks to Mayor Ginther and the City of Columbus, we were able to provide, this grant of $10,000 for 5 individual businesses.
Okay, and one of those businesses is yours.
Yes.
Tell us about Glamour on the Go.
Glamour Girls on the Go is a full salon. We offer hair services, esthetician services, and we also do a mentorship program with the youth in the neighborhood.
Talk to us more about that. What do you do?
In the summer, what we do is we get children from different organizations, and we just teach them entrepreneurship, how to run a business, how to do products, just teach them how to do some life skills, and better educate them in life.
I was just.
No, you're fine. You said the inspiration behind starting this was your daughter.
Yeah, the inspiration.
Can you talk to us more about her and all that?
Yeah,
where that
the inspiration for me to start Glamour Girls on the Go was actually more than one daughter. One of my daughter does hair care, and the other one does esthetician. She got her license, so I decided to open a salon in a neighborhood that we are 5 generations living in that neighborhood, and putting a salon in that neighborhood to offer quality service to inner city people. You know what I'm saying? That probably couldn't receive those kind of services elsewhere.
And when you factor in the whole entrepreneurship factor of everything, how does that fit in?
Well, the entrepreneurship fits in because as growing up, I mean, businesses, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you leave your children? You know, so I decided to be able to start a business that my daughter could develop and keep moving and pass it on maybe to eventually her daughter.
And Dawn, how do you fit into all of this?
I'm really a support person for my sister here. I do some business consulting myself. So we decided to tackle this grant and see how we could do a great pitch. And I'm just really excited that we actually received it, because we were scrambling at the last minute, trying to hurry up and get things done.
And
get
for
some estimates.
other organizations out there who are thinking, well, maybe we could do this too. What was that process like to get all that put together and figure out, here's what we need, here's our mission?
I think it really starts with the mission. We have always traditionally been in the community and making sure that we are part of the service that we give back. So that's the first thing. It just doesn't start when that RFP is available. It really starts before that. It starts with the pride in your community. What would you like to see different? So we saw an opportunity. There's a great space right next to our business that we decided would be excellent for children to come and families to come and really be able to have a safe space. And that's exactly what the grant was for, a safe corridor. And we fit right in, so we felt like we would have a strong proposal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you heard from a lot of businesses. Obviously, only 5 could be awarded. But what were some of the greatest needs you were hearing from other pitches?
So the greatest needs we saw were really, and let's start with the pitch competition was about creating a clean and a safe corridor. And so a lot of it was around cleaning up the neighborhood, making sure that there was lighting, making sure that there was security. And so a lot of it focused around making it a safe space for not only children, but also for the businesses to bring in more customers. And so just making sure that the neighborhood overall, because King Lincoln Bronzeville is a traditionally African-American community, and making sure that it got the love that it needed this summer. And so we're excited for it. We put out the pitch competition. The goal was to reach every business on Mount Vernon and Long Street, which we did. So we canvassed the area. We sent emails out. We knocked door to door to make sure that everybody could come in and decide to pitch this and had the access and opportunity to get the $10,000 to help their businesses.
Right.
And a lot of them are small businesses that are serviced by our Minority Business Assistance Center at the Columbus Urban League. So we wanted to make sure that those businesses that we work with, or if they hadn't worked with, that we would work with them to help them on the pitch competition. So we provided the documentation, what they needed. We didn't just throw out an RFP. So we wanted to make sure that they had everything they needed, what they needed to think out, from a financial aspect to what you could do with it and a time frame to do it. So, yeah.
And as you mentioned, King Lincoln Bronzeville is a historically black neighborhood in Columbus. There's so much history there. And in recent years, we've seen a big push to make King Lincoln Bronzeville a fantastic place to raise a family. What has that effort been like as somebody who's grown up there?
Well, so for me, like I said, I'm 5 generations in that neighborhood. So I was a little young girl running up and down Mount Vernon when it was a meat market, when it was a barbershop, Spencer's Coney hot dogs. So I remember how thriving that neighborhood was as a family-oriented neighborhood. And, of course, as things progress, things decline. So to be able to see that come back to life, that's the passion. So for me, and a lot of the other businesses that pitched this grant, it was personal. It's passion. It's like being a part of seeing your neighborhood being revived again.
And we know that starts with our young people.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing at Glamour Girls on the Go is really focused on giving that leg up to our youth. And, in your mind, can there be that next step in that neighborhood without our young people?
Absolutely not. I mean, you have to pour in. If you don't put anything in the glass is empty. If you pour into the glass is full. So you have to show these kids that we care. You have to show them that there's a passion, that somebody cares about them, because there's not a lot of things going on in that neighborhood. The recreation center has been shut down for 2 years because of fire. So you have to invest. You have to show them that you care and do something about it. Action speaks more than words. They look and see, are you participating? Are you caring? And we do a lot of things seasonally in that neighborhood to show them we care. We do back to school drives. We do Halloween. We do Christmas giveaways. She has Toys for Tots. So we pour into the neighborhood.
And with your daughter also being a part of this business, does she want to stay in that area? Does she also want to see it grow and bloom?
Absolutely. She actually works for Grant Hospital in IC unit. And when she's not at work, she's there. So she actually did a program for back to school where they actually cut and did, I think they did 100 kids last summer to get ready for school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot. Awesome.
Marika, Dawn, Lorenzo.
Thank you
Thanks so
all.
much for coming in and joining us. Coming up next here on The Big Picture, we are talking some big announcements from COTA. We'll be right back.
Not every weather impact day is dangerous, but plenty are inconvenient. That's where our weather impact team comes in with the details that matter the most. Live, local, whenever you need it. No waiting, no guesswork. Stay in the know and be prepared with 10 TV.
Alrighty, welcome back to The Big Picture. It's almost 9:40 on your Thursday morning. Joining us right now, we have Jeff Pullen with COTA. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We love having you back. So there's some big news. Obviously, it's back to school season, not only for K through 12, but for college students.
Right. OSU move-in started yesterday.
And we're talking about the Buckeye ID. Tell us about the changes that are coming this year to Buckeye ID and COTA.
Yeah, we're always looking to make it easier for people to board our buses. And for years with this partnership with OSU, they've been able to use COTA unlimited with the Buckeye ID. Now we are transferring that benefit over to the OSU app, because I think we all know we will forget our purse, we'll forget our wallet, but we never forget our phones.
Right.
And so that means that starting today, all students and eligible faculty and staff will be able to get on the OSU app and see COTA ticket right on the front page. You click on it, it's a QR code. You scan it on the validator when you board on the right of when you board. Right next to the operator, and you can go. It's
Right.
so much easier than having to fish out a Buck ID.
And really, in the last couple of years, we've seen that huge push from COTA to get away from paper tickets or card swipes and to this, because if you've got the transit app, it's just a code that you scan your phone, and then obviously this with the Buck ID program, it takes one extra step out of taking public transportation.
You're absolutely right. We launched Tap to Pay earlier this year, which means you can use a major credit card or debit card, and it makes it so much easier. A lot of people wonder why we go to digital payment. It's more than just having paper passes or having putting $2 into the fare box. We're able to help cap your fare. So when you use digital, we can track how much you're using and make sure that you're never spending more than $4.50 a day or $62 in a calendar month. So digital is so much better. But for our OSU students, they pay into this with their student activity fees. Our eligible faculty and staff pay with it with a payroll deduction. We want to make sure that it's very easy for them to board and go wherever they need to go, whether it's to get to and from work or school, but internships, after school activities, Friday night, Saturday night nightlife, the OSU games on the weekends, everything.
All that stuff. And obviously, I mean, speed's a factor in all of this, right? If you just have your phone and your app, you just click, ding, 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 and you go. Why is speed so important when it comes to boarding?
Well, I mean, if you can keep the line going, especially when you're around campus, you have a lot of students who board at one stop. You want to be them to be able to board faster so you can stay on time. It also just makes it a better experience for them.
So
Right.
in 2025, there was like 730,000.
Right. It's not a small number.
No, not at all. That's a lot of riders. 730,000.
Yeah, it's 730,000 passenger trips. Obviously, we don't have 730,000 students, but they take them multiple times. They go everywhere. We also do something similar with a physical card for and the transit app for our CCS students. So with that and OSU and some of our charter and other small districts, we have about 1 million rides coming from just students alone in Central Ohio.
And do you expect that number to keep growing?
We do. I mean, we do supplemental transportation for CCS, Columbus City Schools. They're looking at budgetary issues, and they're working through that. It could be possible that high school students are going to be using our system more in the next school year, not this school year, but the 2027-2028. So we do expect more students to be riding, and we try to make those programs easy for them to access.
Right. And we know that, I mean, the university supplies a lot of rides for COTA, and also it's a huge employer, and that is part of the changes coming that are being rolled out Labor Day. Are those lines to and from OSU?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. We currently serve on line 1 to 102, 31, and line 8 right on campus. But starting on the 7th, we will have line 30, which means that students on OSU campus will either be able to go west towards UA and Hilliard or south to downtown.
Okay, and so let's say I'm a freshman at OSU. I've never taken COTA before. What do I need to know?
Go to COTA.com/OSU. We have literally step-by-step on how you ride. Also, this coming Monday, we will be at Buckeye Frenzy. So from, I think it's 12:30 to 3-ish. So we will be there to make sure that students, new students and students who might just be interested know how to ride. We do travel training right on site.
Okay, Jeff, thank you so much for coming in. Anything else going on?
No, I think we hit it all for now.
Okay. We'll have
You'll be
you
back
later. Yeah. Thank you. All righty. Well, coming up, we're going to have a look at the forecast. The rain has subsided for now, but there may be some pop-up showers throughout the day. We have Justin Gertz joining us coming up next.
The 10 TV Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the news you need. 10 TV Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
All right, welcome back. It is 9:49 on a very soggy Thursday.
Yes, joining us, meteorologist Justin
Hey,
Gertz.
Justin.
We were all busy this morning, but you were especially busy. I mean, whew, it was raining hard and fast.
I mean, I will point out that once the heaviest rain got through, my job is more like, okay, like where was the heaviest rain, and trying to give some indications on like where should we be looking at as far as like news type stuff. So
where was it?
Yeah, right. East side of the metro, and then off to the east in parts of like Licking County as well. So like Pataskala, up toward the Westerville area, around the airport. Some places got probably 4 to 6 inches of rain. May have been maybe a couple of rain gauges that end up a little bit more than that between yesterday afternoon and evening, and then what fell this morning. And the bulk of that was this morning. Just absolutely torrential rainfall rates. And we were looking at this time yesterday that for some reason, like a lot of data was suggesting somewhere near I-70 would be the most likely area for really heavy rain. And that's ended up being what happened. So it's one of those that these weather patterns are really, really challenging to figure out, because especially when you're talking small scale stuff, I mean, not everybody got 4 to 6 inches of rain, but when all the information was saying somewhere near the I-70 corridor, it's like, okay, we're going to key in on that. Now, if you had told me that some places would get 6 inches of rain, I'd be like, oh, oh, that's not going to happen. Like, that's crazy talk. But sure enough, that's what ended up happening in a few places. But yeah, kind of the east side of the metro and then adjacent areas just off to the east were the hardest hit areas. For
I mean, it was coming down for hours.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, at least on a normal day, like, yeah, we could handle that much rain, but we're already so
wet.
There's nowhere for it to go.
Yeah.
Well, and yesterday...
Except for 71.
Right? Except for 71.
Yesterday, officially, John Glenn International was at the 13th wettest August on record, as if the month were to end yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Rain yesterday afternoon, evening, and this morning catapulted us to number 2.
Ooh.
Oh.
We jumped up big time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right? So we're
Almost
a little
winners.
over an inch away from the wettest August on record. We still have a little over a week to go for the month. I'm hoping we don't. Yesterday when I posted I posted like the rankings, and I said, oh yeah, number 1 spot, like don't have to worry about even, that at all. And Aaron White texted me. He's like, are you sure? And I'm like, jokingly, and I'm like, oh yeah, am I attempting fate now?
Yes.
Sorry, I guess.
But
I didn't mean to do
we
that.
love a record.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But oh my goodness. Well, the good news right now is that of all things, 71 is back open.
Hooray!
Let's a look at 71 at Frank Road. That's where that
Much
had been
different
flooded
look.
over. Oh my gosh, it's 10 times different than it was this morning because, I mean, this was just a couple hours ago. This was earlier today, so you see all of those lanes closed. But look at that. That is a live look right
Magic.
there. Things are back open.
And I think that
Huzzah.
might
Everything
be
heals with time.
right. I think that might be Big Run that goes in that spot because we were trying to figure out. Okay, like at first I thought it was, is there so much rain that it can't
Clogged
drain
everything?
fast enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I'm looking, I'm like, wait, is because they kept pushing with the snowplows and it wasn't doing anything. It's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah,
so I
should
looked
just
on
keep
Google
filling back
Maps
up.
and kind of like did the angle and was showing like looking at the bridge. I'm like, oh no, I think that's Big Run that goes through there. So I think Big Run actually went out of its was out of its banks this morning, flooding the interstate. That's not official. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what happened.
And then, Colin, can you pull that the clear image up again one more time? I mean, you can just see that the highway goes down into it dips down.
Yeah.
It creates this perfect crater for overflowing water.
Yeah, and it's like, we were talking this morning. It's like I can't remember 71 there flooding over like that. I've seen it closed for
Right.
snow right around there, but not that kind of flooding.
And as Amy pointed out that the adjacent what's the road
Jackson
adjacent to
Pike.
it? Yes, like that tends to flood.
Right.
So like that wasn't a shocker this morning.
that
Like,
was
Frank
a shocker.
covered up. 104
was.
always floods out. Like
It was bad. There were two cars completely
right,
submerged underwater.
It was worse than the last time we had flash flooding in that area. So
Yeah.
But yeah, 71 being shut down for water. It's like, what is going on here this morning?
just so many cancellations and delays with school districts. I mean,
needs to go to work or
all
school
this
today.
rain though was happening during that time. Bus drivers get in their buses and they go
Right.
around to pick up the kids.
Well,
so
I know that people were worried, like my neighborhood is flooded. Like I can't get out of my cul-de-sac. Like what am I supposed to do? And I understand the. I could go on a rant here. Colin, I think
What
got
are
a
you
little
gonna
glimpse
rant
of it.
about?
Basically, if you're an employer, a boss,
like,
a
we'll zoom the
manager,
camera in.
right? If you're an employer, a boss, a manager, I would hope that you have demonstrated to your employees that they do not feel that they need to risk driving through floodwater to get to work so they don't get in trouble. Like nobody should have to worry about that. Like I'm going to get in trouble if I don't get to work and I have to drive through this floodwater to get there. That should not be a concern for people.
I think it's a concern for a lot of people.
I actually saw that in various Facebook and Reddit groups of people
yeah.
being like, my boss is going to yell at me because I can't get to work.
And I was freaking out
that's
this morning
bad.
too because I was trying to open up my garage door and my whole alleyway was flooding.
Right.
And I was like, oh no.
I know
What's
Amy,
gonna happen if I
Amy
can't
had
get to work?
had a time getting here from Clintonville because
Yeah.
High Street was
Right,
covered, so she had to
yes.
wiggle all the way through the
I
back
was
streets of
swerving
Columbus.
this morning. Like I was going over responsibly. Obviously, there was no one else on the road, thankfully, at
gotta do what you
3
gotta
a.m.
do.
But there was so much flooding, and there was such a current as well with the water that was covering the roads. I had Amy literally in the back of my head. I'm like, I shouldn't be driving through this water.
You could become the news.
I could become the
Right,
news,
yeah.
but I
Not in a good
persevered
way.
and took it slow and got into work.
Yeah, what time did it start? Because
Oh,
it was raining
goodness.
when my alarm went off at 2:30.
Yeah, I came in a little bit early because I'm like, okay, just in case things, are a little active and they really ramped up. So I got in, let's see, it was raining when I got in, and that would have been about 2:30 or so. But then it picked up really for a little while after that. It was coming down for a couple of hours pretty heavily. So yeah, I would say from about, let's say 2 to 4, 4:30 is when it was heaviest across most of the metro.
Okay, so I want to look ahead. Hopefully the sun's on the other side.
Actually, we'll see some sunshine poking through this afternoon. Could be a couple more,
tomorrow.
right? And the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yay!
Any more showers the rest of the day, nuisance, not a big deal for us. Saturday, another chance of showers and a few thunderstorms, afternoon to evening. Could be 1 or 2 strong ones, hail, gusty winds, if they get strong enough. Right now, it looks like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, less humid, dry, upper 70s. So that'll be nice.
We really have to dry out.
Oh
the
my
ground
gosh,
is just
right.
soaking wet, and when there's more rain, it just it's never-ending cycle.
Right. Yeah,
Justin.
Everybody's grass is getting really tall.
Dry for high school football, but those who have grass fields instead of turf are going to be pretty mushy, I'm afraid. So that's going to be interesting.
All right, well, let's end this show on a fun note. Guess what today is, Justin?
Thursday.
Good one. It's National Bacon Day.
Oh, nice.
Yay! Do you like? I know you don't like pickles, but do you like bacon?
Oh, it's funny because I prefer bacon on sandwiches as opposed to like a side for breakfast. Where my wife is the opposite. She does not like it on anything. She only wants it as a side. But yes, I love bacon.
I feel like I'm probably kind of in the same boat as you. Like, I feel like bacon enhances the things it's on, but I'm not one who I will just eat it. But it's like. No, it's definitely I feel like it's definitely like a good
I love
sandwich
bacon.
thing.
I just don't like cooking it. Are you guys fans of BLTs? And if so, what is the perfect ratio for you?
I don't know if I've actually had a BLT because I used to not like lettuce and tomatoes. Now I like lettuce and tomatoes. So
okay, picky eater over
here.
A little bit.
Yeah. Oh, not as much as I used to be.
Okay.
I used to hate tomatoes, and I've grown into them.
You guys, tomatoes are the best.
They are good. Yeah.
It's the goo that I take
goo
issue
never hurt
with.
nobody.
I'm just nope, don't like that. But I do like them now. I typically just do like a tomato sandwich, which is just like bread, mayonnaise, salt, pepper, tomato.
Well, if you put bacon on top of it today, just know it's delicious.
It is. Oh, it is. Absolutely.
So the National Day is today because according to calendar records, it shows that the ancient Chinese ate a version of bacon around this time in 1500 BC.
Interesting.
Fun facts, yeah. And the phrase "bring home the bacon" stems from a 12th century English church. The calendar says it was offered to men who swore they hadn't quarreled with their wives for about a year.
Interesting.
Wow.
So when you say you hate cooking it, do you mean how do you cook it? Are you a frying pan person? Or do you bake
Let me elaborate. I don't like the smell that's associated with bacon, and I don't like the way it makes my house smell for hours after that.
And see, that's why you bake it.
That's why you bake it. I get that, but even when you bake it, it still just has that stench throughout your house.
Oh, stench! Oh, that's a
strong word.
Stench. It is a stench.
I strongly disagree with stench as your
because
choice
I
of
throw it in
word.
the air fryer.
There's
to be
nothing
fair, which
worse
might
than
not
when
be safe.
you make some food and then you leave the house and you come back and the kitchen still smells like that. Yeah, bacon.
I made turkey burgers last night, and my house still smells like turkey burgers.
Yeah. Well, go get your bacon today, everyone.
It was on sale at Kroger yesterday when I was there.
Yeah.
So
in honor of the holiday,
apparently. I was like, maybe the people at Kroger are paying attention.
There's a warning here on this sheet. It says health experts caution about going overboard with bacon, even on a day given to meat to honor it, because research links that it can cause an increased risk of cancer.
Yeah, it is a known carcinogen, I suppose, but
cured meats are best done in moderation.
Very much moderation.
Yeah, but they're good.
Right?
Delicious.
Good for the soul, too.
Cool. Well, good day to stay inside, cook some bacon, eat a BLT. I think that's the best way I like bacon, is in a bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich.
Yeah, I do love just like a bacon and cheese omelet.
Ooh,
yeah,
that
with
sounds
some
good.
fried onions. So good.
Not a big egg person. I guess we all have our quirks.
Yeah. See, I just bring a boiled egg in my lunch.
Oh, what?
That's crazy at work.
Yeah, just boiled eggs are easy. Yeah.
They are. Okay, well, that does it for us on this rainy Thursday. We will see you all tomorrow at 9 a.m. on Friday. Have a good rest of your day.
See ya.